You know, Lisa, one of the sharpest bosses that I've worked for didn't even have a college degree at that time. I'd say there are many such managers in the business world.
You mean those who are high school graduates?
Correct? It would be interesting to predict how likely it is that someone's a manager if you know they are college educated, or that someone's college educated if you were to know they are a manager.
I have a feeling that these have different answers.
Welcome back to Statistics for Business One. I'm Shankar, your instructor for this course.
I'm Liza, his most brainy assistant. They even call me an MBA.
We are continuing to discuss a census data set that we have downloaded from the UC Irvine Machine Learning Repository. That is what is on your screen. This data set contains information of over 30,000 people regarding their gender, occupation, race, and even their salary levels. Speaking of occupation, here's a job-wise breakdown of our data set.
You used a pivot table?
Of course I did. This one's easy to construct, so why don't you take a couple of minutes to build it yourself? In this segment, we'll learn how to group categorical variables that have several levels into fewer categories. We'll do this by recoding the data set. Next, we will directly calculate a conditional probability as well as its inverse using our pivot table. Finally, we will discuss how to arrive at the inverse probability using the Bayes theorem. Let's get back to the analysis tab. Clicking on the education filter, you notice there are way too many levels. I'll use the education number column to combine some of these so we can get a simpler picture to work with. These education numbers run from 1 for preschool to 16 for the highest level of a doctorate. What we will do next is to group these levels in the increasing order of education numbers and create three simple categories. Business analysts call this recoding, and it's a very important step. Let's start by creating a new column called Edu Level. For some reason, it works well if I create this new column at the end of our data set. Just remember, the E column contains information on education levels. That's convenient, right? It says if E2 less than or equal to 8, then school. If E2 less than or equal to 12, then post-school. Otherwise, college. Next, I'll build a pivot table with this new variable thrown into the mix. And what I'll do now is to, of course, double click, and everything works out well. We have now classified the entire data set based on this new education level variable. Next, I'll build a pivot table with this new variable thrown into the mix. So I will click on any cell within the data table, go over to Data, Pivot Table, and I will put my pivot table in another spreadsheet. Over here, I'm going to look for the different occupations as my rows and education level as my columns. I get these three columns over here with a grand total. Both of these grand totals play a huge role, as we will see later on. And I will just go ahead and sum by education levels. So I have this pivot table that we will start working with.
Spreadsheets are magical.
If we consider school education as our base, then there are about 5 times as many who have finished school and have some post-school education, and about twice as many who have completed college.
Those are splendid ratios.
One skill you must develop as an analyst is to look past raw numbers to detect some broad trends. We all like our ratios as whole numbers, right? Remind me of our first question, Lisa.
What's the likelihood that someone's a manager if you know that they are college educated?
Thanks. When it comes to conditional probabilities, there are two survival skills we must pick up. One is to identify the events that go into constructing them. Look closely at the problem statement and then you will find them. Let's call M the event that a person chosen from this data set is a manager. And let C be the event that someone from this data set is college educated. What we must focus on is the exec managerial row, and there are 3,991 of them. To calculate the probability of M, we need to divide that number by 30,160. And that gives us close to 13.23%. Likewise, we get the proportion P of C of college educated folks from the bottom margin as 7587 divided by 30,160 or 25.16%. The second survival skill is to frame what is asked as a conditional probability. Most people tend to go wrong here. The condition in our case is that someone chosen at random from our data set is college educated. This is the event C. So what we are asked is the value of probability of M given C.
And the other question asks us to calculate the probability of C given M.
That was smart. We are now ready to answer both of our questions with this one table. Just focus on the exec managerial folks. Now, college educated people comprise the first column in our table. We want to know what proportion of these are managers. There are 1925 managers out of the same 7587 people. So that makes 1925 over 7587 or about 25.37%. Operationally, P of M given C is defined as P of M intersection C over P of C. We just calculate the ratio of the raw counts of M intersection C to C because both of the probabilities are computed for the same sample space. So the denominators will both be 30,160. We call P of M given C as the posterior probability of M. It's like we've adjusted the probability of someone being a manager after seeking additional information about their education. This is a revision of the prior probability P of M. Now the inverse question concerns P of C given M, or the probability that someone's college educated given they are a manager. When it comes to conditionals, it's easy to make mistakes. P of C given M looks like it could be P of M given C inverted as a fraction. But you'll turn up with something larger than 1, which isn't even a valid probability number.
Let me make another guess. How about 1 minus probability of M given C?
It's tempting to answer that way, except it's not correct. We read off the managers row in the table for the probability. We get 1925 over 3991, which is 48.23% or approximately 1 in 2.